Old English. Development. History of the English language. Old English was not static, and its usage covered a period of approximately 700 years, from the Anglo-Saxon migrations that created England in the 5th century to some time after the Norman conquest of 1066, when the language underwent a dramatic transition. During this early period, it assimilated some aspects of the languages with which it came in contact, such as the Celtic languages and the two dialects of Old Norse from the invading Vikings, who occupied and controlled large tracts of land in northern and eastern England, which came to be known as the Danelaw. Some events of this period are Germanic origins, Latin influence, Norse influence, and Celtic influence. Germanic origins. The most important force in shaping Old English was its Germanic heritage in its vocabulary, sentence structure, and grammar, which it shared with its sister languages in continental Europe. Some of these features are shared with the other West Germanic languages with which Old English is grouped, while some other features are traceable to the reconstruct for a Germanic language from which all Germanic languages are believed to have derived. Like other Germanic languages of the period, Old English was fully inflected with 5 grammatical scales: nominative, accusative, genitive, dative, and instrumental, though the instrumental was very rare, which had dual plural forms for referring to groups of two objects, but only in the personal pronouns. In addition to the usual singular and plural forms, it also assigned gender to all nouns, including those that describe animate objects. For example, the sun was feminine, while the moon was masculine.
Latin influence. A large percentage of the educated and literary population of their time, monks, clerics, etc., were competent in Latin, which was the scholarly and diplomatic lingua franca of Europe of that time. It is something possible to give approximate date for the entry of individual Latin words into Old English based on which pattern of linguistic change they have undergone. There were at least 3 notable periods of that Latin influence. The first occurred before the ancestral Saxons left continental Europe of Britain. The second began when the Anglo-Saxons were converted to Christianity, and Latin-speaking priests became widespread. The third and larger single transfer of Latin-based words happened after the Norman conquest of 1066, when an enormous number of Norman words began to influence the language. Most of these old language words were themselves derived from Old French, and ultimately from Classical Latin, although a notable stock of Norse words were introduced or reintroduced in normal form. The Norman conquest approximately marked the end of Old English and the advent of Middle English. One of the ways the influence of Latin can be seen is that many Latin words for activities came to also be used to refer to the people engaged in those activities, an idiom carried over from Anglo-Saxon but using Latin words. This can be seen in words like militia, assembly, movement, and service. The language was further altered by the transition away from the runic alphabet, also known as Fafor or Fapork, of the Latin alphabet, which was also a significant factor of the developmental pressure brought to bear on the language. All English words was spelled as they were pronounced. The silent letters in many modern English words were pronounced in Old English. For example, the Z in night. The Old English ancestor of the modern night was pronounced. Another side effect of spelling words phonetically was that spelling was extremely variable. The spelling of a word would reflect differences in the phonetic of the writer's regional dialect and also idiosyncratic spelling choice, which varied from author to author and even from work to work by the same author. Thus, for example, the word "and" could be spelled either "and" or "on".
Norse influence. The approximate extent of Old Norse and related language in the early 10th century. Old West Norse dialect, Old East Norse dialect, Old Gutnish dialect, Gothic, Old English, other language with which Old Norse still retains some mutual intelligibility. The second major source of loanwords to Old English was the Scandinavian words, introduced during the Vikings invasion of the 9th and 10th centuries. In addition to a great many places names, this consists mainly of items of basic vocabulary and words concerned with particular administrative aspect of the Danelaw, that is, the area of land under Viking control, which include extensive holdings all along the eastern coast of England and Scotland. The Vikings spoke Old Norse, a language related to Old English in that both derive from the same ancestral Proto-Germanic language. It is very common for the exterminating of a speaker of different dialects, such as those that occur during times of political unrest, to result in a mixed language, and when theory holds that exactly such a mixture of Old Norse and Old English helped accelerate the decline of case endings in Old English. Apparent confirmation of this is the fact that simplification of the case endings occurred earliest in the north and lastest in the southwest, the area farthest away from Vikings' influence. Regardless of the truth of this theory, the influence of Old Norse on the English language has been profound, responsible for such a basic vocabulary items as sky, leg, the pronoun they, the verb form are, and the hundred of other words. Celtic influence. Traditionally, many maintain that the influence of Celtic on English has been small. The small number of Celtic loanwords taken into language. The number of Celtic loanwords is of a lower order than either Latin or Scandinavian. However, a minority view is that distinctive Celtic trait can be discerned in syntax from the post-Old English period.